at IFLA AAPMA Award and Malaysian Landscape Architect Award MLAA. We are very honored to have you as one of our speakers of the session. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Phua on screen. Hello there, Mr. Phua.
Hi.
How are you doing there?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So we cannot wait to hear about your sharing, and without delay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I straight directly to share now, right? Hello. I'm Phua here from Landart Design in Malaysia. Let me see. Is there able to see the screen?
It's loading. We shall have a few seconds first for it to get shared. And for your information, the topic that Mr. Paul will share with us today is on reset button for transient living in Malaysia. And what does it mean by to reset things? What are the buttons that need to be stopped or need to be pushed further? Mr. Paul will help us to explain in detail after the slide is being shared. So please stay with us, and this will be a very interesting session that you could learn further.
Actually, I shared already. Have you all seen?
We haven't yet. Can you open the slide for us so that we can see it?
Already open.
Can you put it on full presentation for us?
Share the screen. Yeah, share now.
After you switch on and go to the slide, can you please click for a full slide for us?
I already shared, but it's not there. Are you able to see?
We can see the slide, but we might need you to click full screen slide so that we can have it totally on the screen. Yes, it's working now.
This one, right?
All right.
Can see?
Yes, we can see it loading in the screen.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on IFLA World Congress 2020. Yeah, I'm Paul from Landart Design in Malaysia. Today's topic I'm going to share is reset button for transient living in Malaysia. Before we look at the context in Malaysia, let us go through that's the survey that we picked up and been done in 2017 regarding the digital around the world. Mobile phone user is about 5.22 million over the total populations in the world, about 7.83 million. And we know that's the urbanizations that people who stay in the city, approximately more than 56%, is about 4.4 million people. And this one, due to the rapid development in the city, affecting the daily time spent in media. And we can see that most of the active internet user, about 6 hours, 30 minutes. And then social.
Because of this, how much time we do really spend at outdoor areas. Based on statistics and survey done in Malaysia, daily spend on outdoor and park, we can see that 80.6% of people spend only for 1 to 2 hours weekly. And based on recommendations of
Malaysia daily spend on outdoor and park, we can see that 80.6% of people spend only for 1 to 2 hours weekly. And based on recommendations of WHO and US Department of Health, they recommend you should spend at least minimum 2 to 3 hours weekly, but in Malaysians, they're only 13.1%. So recall, if you look at these illustrations, yeah, in previous time in Malaysia, I think parents would like to children stay at home, but today, parents love the kids to go out because they're too attached to the mobile phone and stay at home, don't want to go to the outdoor. And what we're going to recall the past that we spend most of the time at the outdoor area because most people choose to communicate and socialize at the outdoor. That due to the IoT getting more advanced, Today we can see the youngest people love to play games, through a mobile phone. But technology, internet is known as the current global issue. This indirectly affected the youngest people, spend less time at the outdoor areas. So during, especially based on the current pandemic issues now, I think most of the people also stay at home. We also can feel it by ourselves. But stay too long in the house areas that we feel sometimes we feel very bored, very down, very depressed, very stressed too indirectly. So as a landscape architect, what should we do for the future for the smart city? Is that going to see that we watch from the Star Trek Beyond? Is the smart city not only about the technology? What are they? So do you think what would be the most important? Yes, it's you. You are the most important. When we have time to reset the button of the transient living in urban areas, place for people to transit, pay for people to rehab, and pay for the rest for temporary. As a landscape architect or urban planner, we understand people should be a priority. Because people connecting with people, we respect human rights, we understand the human needs. We also create a quality space for quality life of people. What people wanted to experience in urban spaces, especially in Malaysia context, we need more safety park during the nighttime. We understand Malaysia weather extremely hot, we need more green spaces, we need more clean air. And we also need more event happening at the outdoor area, which can be drawn from the people who stay indoor to the outdoor. So when we understand the issue and the people needs only be able to come out the right design approach to fulfill the needs of the public. So today we're going to share with you two projects here. First will be Dun Razak Exchange. The first one is Dun Razak Exchange, which is short name called TRX. We emphasize more on public ramp and the streetscape enhancement. When we look at the TRX context, the site is about 70 acres of land, close to KLCC's, less than 2 kilometers away from the site. If you know that if you visit Malaysia before, you should know this is KLCC on the right-hand side. And the current tallest building will be replaced by the TRX. It's about 106 story high here. And this is going to be a future financial hub in Malaysia. So before we start the design, we listen to the voice of the stakeholder. We engage with the people and local resident shop owners around the TRX site. After listening to all the voices, there's a time for us to draw up design strategies with the ingredients of success. Because we understand human smart city driven by human experience, that's the most important thing. There's 4 criteria that we're looking into it. That's the first will be activity and functions. Second will be comfortability, connectivity, and sociability. Let me show you the size that the TRX currently, if you have been there, that actually this is the territory of the boundary line from Jalan Utara, Jalan Barat, or Jalan Kampung Pandan. There's total land area is about 70 acres. So we'll look into it. There was a little small video clip that we can visualize that better. We also appointed by local authority, DBKL, to come out the design guideline to integrate and to make it seamless design with the neighborhood. This project is still under the constructions. Hopefully by the year 2024, will be completed. So when we do site analysis, we understand the site problem and the solutions. We found the missing linkage between the urban park in the city. We propose to connect the ecological city. Proposed is to enhance the springboard urban habitats.
So in our proposal,
The second one, the connected city, because currently TI is more on the car-oriented city because public transport not well connected. So in our proposal, we link up all the public space network, like the street, recreational site. This indirectly will be improve the transient living in KL city. And also public transport also make it friendly city as well too. And the fourth will be a prosperous city. We extended the KL Golden Triangle city into a bigger scale to make it part of the international tourism hotspot in the future, beside KLCC, because everyone knows about KLCC, when it comes to visit Malaysia. But in the future, this is the one that will be extended areas for TRX. We also make it part of iconic and vibrant cities, make it must-go destinations, and because this is going to be a bigger financial hub in Malaysia. So of course, when every project we do it, we must understand the historical timeline. And these areas actually the transformations of economy in past, current, and also the future. We must understand the root and the culture of the land. Only be able to create a place with a soul when people enter this, when people visit the place. So based on the landscape concept approach over here, actually inspiration is from the old period transport system when they're delivering the goods, to the site, because this is a commercials, it become the heart of is Colombo. So actually previously they would use the water and also the send good through old railway track as well too. So we are using this part of the metaphor is to become a big piece of the carpet to apply into the entire DRX areas, to tie up the entire building itself, let it sit on the top and make the place more unique, and also it's good for the place making too. And visions of this project is actually financial. We're going to turn this part of the financial district that I mentioned just now into international standard, offering a vibrance with a green city that is a pedestrian friendly. And total landscape areas, what we see here is about 23% of the site. So that's the 4 design strategies that we emphasize on. First will be comfortability, that's sustainable, safe, and green. And first of all, we look at the Jalan Gading. People who visited the pavilion before, that should be as it's coming out down here. So approximately about 350 meters long. And when we visit the area, you definitely will pass by these areas. Currently the situation is lack of vegetation, a different change of levels that not that so friendly to walk around this corner. So what we're going to do is that we also study the solar installation study, capture the true IoT data collections, to identify which are the areas that expose more sunlight here. So once you understand most of the areas is very, very hot, so what we're going to do is that we'll bring down the thermal comfort by introducing 2 rows of the planting areas and also flatten out and creating the ramp, more accessible for the public to walk around this corner. So these areas will average about air temperature about 34 degrees Celsius. We're able to bring it down to 25 degrees Celsius. Approximately 5 degrees have been deducted from these areas. So next time when you go there, you can feel that you walk very, very comfortably under the shades. So the other ones will be another part of Jalan Gading areas that currently is 2 lane here. So by introducing bigger areas for people to walk around this corner, we extend the walkway areas the slightly bigger. So people can walk more safely and comfortably when you go to visit TRX in the future. So another one safety city is that we also introduce a lot of lightings, to brighten up, to make it more happen during the night time. Another one would be interesting point that we would like to bring it up for you all will be we want to create more cleaner city that we make it a bespoke garbage can with smart sensor. Once the rubbish bin have filled about 80% of the food, that will alert to send it directly to centralized system to identify the locations to inform to the workers to pick it up all the rubbish. So this all will be indirectly reduce about 30% of the infrastructure and operating and maintenance costs as well too. This is actually implemented on the site. If you have the chance, you can visit there. And then disconnected green lung currently at another part of Jalan Gading areas, because this is low usage of driveway. So what we intend to do, because due to the lack of the green spaces, what we're going to do is that we extend the green spaces in the bigger covered areas. So we propose to cover the areas and also propose the rest ramp, make disabled more friendly when they want to visit this place. So we also introduce some of the native plants, like Cursophyllum, Fuminia, ficus species that are able to attract the urban birds to come back into these corners. Not only the tree, we also introduce a shrub as well too. So to attract some butterfly. The other point is that we would like to bring up here is a smart city approach that we would like to adopt into the KL city as well too. We want to make it part of the rainwater gardens and also propose a permeable concrete. We want to allow the water seep through as far as possible during a raining day, then we can avoid the flood issue happening in the city. So with all this water, when it gather up into the center point of the collecting areas, we're able to recycle back, use it as part of the irrigation system for the planting for maintenance purpose. So this is more for the cost saving in the future as well too. So the other part that you look at it is the design strategies that we emphasize on will be sociability. We want to make it part of the areas for gathering, friendly, and also interactive. So how we want to do it is that we look at the Northwest Plaza. This is one of the biggest plaza at DRX. We're still under construction, it's not 100% complete because due to the shopping malls, they're under during construction periods. So walking distance between these areas is about 250, total about 11,000 meter square areas. So this is part of the arrival note. If you visit the site, you know where this is one of the Honda Tower areas. So when you go down here, this is what we propose. Yeah, we make it some of the area where kiosks for people to rest, to take a drink with a coffee. So we also make it change of levels, to create more privacy and make it more interesting spaces for people to enjoy in the outdoor areas. You can see some of the existing tree. There's 9 numbers of existing tree that we preserve here. So this is part of the plan view that we're able to see. Yeah, we're still under construction stage. And this year's gallery is supposed to demolish. It's still in the progress of doing that. And we will remain the existing of the rain tree here. And then this at the side right now. And then this is not what I mentioned just now, some of the existing trees. It's very, very interesting that we like to preserve, especially this Tacoma tree here, Tabiboya. And during tree preservations, what we do that we work very closely with the arborists and also the contractors who carry out this work. And we have a proper tree protection zone.
So this is part of the completions work that we can see. And the most
We have gathered all the root ball, so all the pilings that we try to avoid the corners. So this is part of the completions work that we can see. And the most interesting part that we preserve some of the existing tree and let the architecture blend into it, So that's why we can see some roof structures that opening is actually will allow the tree trunk to go through, that we also provide a space for them to expand in the future. So this is part of the biophilic approach that we can let people more calm when you sit inside and sip coffee during afternoon time. And also when you look out from the outside looking in, it becomes like a piece of sculpture of this tree into this area. So this is night scene, that we can, if you have a chance to visit there, it's a very lovely corner that you can take a rest or sip a cup of coffee here. And we also introduce some of the lighting at the change of level to provide some visits happening around this corner. And then just during daytime, you can see the texture on the flooring with the different color of the materials actually is the reflections of the shadow of the trees, that inspirations that we want to blend together with the shadow textures also. So these kind of the ideas that the paving materials you're using are granites, have a different color of the gray colors. The other KL step is one of the interesting point as well. And this is one of the social gathering point in the future. Total step about it is about 88 steps. And it also acts as part of the infrastructure for recreational core and also make it part of the sustainable core as well. Because we like to collect all the rainwater garden back into one of the center areas that we have enough to irrigate all the planting along these areas. So indirectly also create part of the biodiversity core into this corner. So this is part of the illustration work, it's still under construction right now. So what you can see, the entrance coming in, they have a breakthrough by interesting planter boxes. You can also create a very interesting nighttime feeling as well too. And then this is the idea that we're creating some step with different color of granite to break through the monotony of the step too. So when you go up to the top levels and when entering into the shopping mall areas, that's actually this, we probably introduce a big giant tree. We would like to have, at least we propose about 1.5-meter planting depth. We want to allow the tree to grow in the future. And then this is the night dreamscape at nighttime. And then this is what, when we come to lighting festival, this is the celebrations corner for people to enjoy. It's become like paradise of the lighting areas. So another part will be activity and functions. Yeah, because we understand this is very, very big areas for people to come to relax at these corners. And then we understand Malaysia is multiracial country with all year round activities. From January until December, we can see that people will celebrate different festivals like Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, Deepavali, music festival, and fashion week. So this is all about the people. When we have the so rich into the culture in Malaysia, is part of asset that would like to celebrate, become an interesting tourism spot for people to visit. And then we also make it become a vibrant and active plaza areas during a fashion week. And then we promote the sustainable lifestyle. We create this part of the platform for like a local artist or international artist use this part of to showcase their talents and creativities. And the plaza also can be used part of the health promoting areas, because during the weekend they can do like a line dancing, Zumba, outdoor exercise, all that. So normal days, this is kind of the view that we're going to achieve. Yeah, you can see that some of the during the daytime that mostly it's just a transition plaza corners, but we have interesting light fittings that we already installed at the site, some of it. And then during the nighttime, we're lighting up the areas, become part of like a piece of sculpture. And then this is the during a construction period right now that we do not want to sample at the site here. And this lighting actually inspired by national flower of Malaysia called Hibiscus rosa chinensis. We are using a stigma and stamen. It's part of the design inspirations for us. So another sunken plaza is under construction stage right now, just in front of Mulia Tower. And then this is the areas that the opening void, yeah, in front of these corners. It's about at least about the swimming pool size, Olympic size. The change of level is 7.5 meter high. So you can see this is very interesting areas for people to take down and become an amphitheater, and then the lighting become a part of the backdrop of these areas. Another areas, the connectivities that we are talking about, directional sign, directional, walkable, and make it more accessible. Yeah, this is another transit node MRT stations areas that about 5,000 meter square areas. We can gather about 42,000 people during the peak hours. So this is very interesting convenient transit plaza, not only open part for KL indirectly link up to the MRT, and also act as part of the post nodes for people to rest. It's not only for people, but also for the habitat as well too. So we have introduced some of interesting shrub like Angelonia and some other species that are able to attract some the butterfly set back into these areas. So the entire concept is actually we want to establish the effective and make it more efficient ecological corridor and make KL as part of the city operator. So what we can see that based on the KL structure plan that we show that we ensure we can increase about 12% endemic biodiversity trees and 5% of bird species in the KL city as well too, and 10% of population endangered birds. So all this actually establish a continuous city green network. So after listening to the first project, let me introduce you the second project called Southwest City. And we involved the entire master plan of this project and locations of Southwest City at Bangi, Selangor, 30 minutes drive from Kuala Lumpur, 35-minute drive from Seremban area through North-South Expressway. So when we look at the entire master plan of the East Wing itself, we have a divided East and West areas. And then what you see, the entire land is about 428 acres. 47.5 is the 10 open space areas, approximately about 11.1%. We have the Riverfront Park, Kier Park, Linear Park, and Summit Park. But all these parks actually link up with the connections of the close to 11 kilometers of the jogging path and walkway, bicycling track about 7.1 kilometers. And then all this we're planning, we consider about walking distance at least 4 to 5 minutes for people easily to access from their doorstep. So another areas, today actually we're going to just emphasize on the Summit Park at 9.62 acres of land here. When you look at it, it's actually the land is that mostly cover a water tank at 1.5 acres, slope area 5.2, developed area is 4.42. The challenges part is the site issue that what we face, steep terrace areas, heat stress, poor soil condition. The original site is actually the palm oil plantations. We want to remove the palm oil trees. They also remove all the topsoil. So it's very, very exciting to see this. And design objective is called Urban Forest Park. Let me show you one of the very short video clip here that you can see the visions.
Objective when we want to solve the current issue is to revamp, to rehabilitate the existing barren look of the site itself, and to improve the quality of the soil and turn into part of the large urban forest.
So this urban forest part, the approach for us. So when you see these areas, actually, this is already completed in 2030. What we can see that actually this is divided, that all the facility we target for 2 years to 60 years old people. We have 15 type of facility here, and most of the areas covered by 40% of hardscape. Yeah, we're also creating access for people to go up to maintain the water tank as well too. So during, if you have a chance to visit, there are 3 entrances coming into this site. One, you drive car, you can park here. You walk to the site, you can either enter from these areas. Can you see my cursor, right? So the other one, we can enter into the ramp into this area. So the major part of this corner will be a children playground. And then the Taman Puncak is the name of Bahasa Malaysia, and called a Summit Park, okay? And then pleasant and disabled friendly areas is part of the access and another entry point that people can just pull out the wheelchair going up from here, you know. And then the first arrival that come in here, you see one of the biggest children playground in Majlis Pembandaran Sepang. And then this is one of the areas that will fulfill the international playground safety standard. Total area is about 822 meters square. And all why we say that we're complying to what we call safety standard, that these all the priority that we need to take care. Example, like the children playground in these areas that we come to the designing a structure in the higher levels, the momentum they fall down is much higher. So we introduced about 110 mm thickness of the EPDM floorings, and for these areas about 80 mm, and for this area about 50 mm. So a safety environment for kids become a priority when you design the children playground. So another areas where the picnic areas we're looking at it is actually we creating a cluster, different cluster of the barbecue corner areas and picnic corners. Yeah, so this is the areas that we create more privacy, you know, when people want to gather and socialize into these corners. Yeah. So the other one will be fitness stations, stick mall, and pinnacle areas. This was inspired by the river profile, you know, in the forest that you are using a pebble chippings to create this. And then this gray color actually symbolizes a river, and you can see the planted boxes that make it interesting and more teaming with the nature. The kind of mode, when you see from the section views on here, you can see that we purposely mandel, like make it slope down toward the flooring area. So indirectly, it become part of very interesting and dynamic spaces, especially for the skate lover. They would love to come to use this space. And also the other corner that we create a diverse space for various activity for Zumba, all that. Okay, also have a soft areas for open lawn corners for the family to play around, and integrated outdoor fitness corners. There are few of this area purposely made in the cluster form. So we have different planting of textures. When you see from the plan view, actually some of the species we introduce actually is avian species that would like to attract birds back into these areas. So when you pass through here, you can using your IoT stuff like using a certain apps, you know, just go through and scan the picture of the leaf, that you know what kind of plants name and the the character of the tree itself. And then this is little video I'd like to show you the challenges that we face on the site.
Yes, this called block wall, and some people call it keystone wall. The reason why we put up the wall here is because to solve the steep slope. Yeah, we want to minimize the disturbance of the engineering slope here. That's the reason why we built this block wall here. Then we extend this block wall to allow some planting space here. We bring in some planting soil, for the trees to grow. So we can see most of the tree are matured now. We already cover up all the steep slope.
I can really see that.
Yeah. So beside this, actually, this block wall is also called living wall because we allow the plants to grow between the plant. The
Yeah, I do see it actually right here.
Yeah. So in the future, this block wall basically will cover up with green.
Okay, so this part of the block wall that we use that actually for engineering slope treatments. And then the reason why is that we need to apply this because the engineer not allow us to touch any slopes because they're worried about stability of the slope itself. So what we do is that we introduce the keystone wall, extend it, then we can allow to import more topsoil to fill up these areas for plants to grow. So this is during construction periods, the planting progress that what we did together with the extended treatments of the engineering wall here. From first month to 9 months, you can see how the plants just grow up to a complete cover up the entire retaining wall areas. Another interesting point is that at the site actually we face is very, very hard soil. We can't really introduce a lot of planting into this area. So what we do is that actually when it comes to planting design approach, we introduce a nitrogen fixing plants. The reason why you call it nitrogen fixing plant because all the species of the plants they decay very fast, become a compost for the next plant, become a new nutrients or the compost for the next plant to grow. So this all soil rehabilitations we apply into most of the areas on this part. So soil rehabilitation through nitrogen fixing were introduced like Acacia mengium, Puraria javanica. This is very, very sustainable when you come to treatment of the slope. So when you come to planting approach, another method what we do is that rather than we plant a single planting, we also introduce in the cluster planting form, we plant a group, so we can import more soil for them to grow. They have enough nutrient for them to survive. So this is in 2019 that you can see from the picture of the slope areas. So after 2 years, you can see that the entire park and mostly covered up. You won't see any like a barren land anymore because we have pumped in about 3,005 trees here and 26 species of varieties. 70% are all nitrogen fixing trees. And this is part of the native forest species that indirectly we're able to produce the oxygen close to 5,787 person per year. We are not only able to purify that area, so indirectly we also attract back all the faunas into these corners. Big places as well too. So we are creating a biodiversity balance for the people and habitat. So what we're going to do is that as a landscape architect, so it's a time for us to reset back. We emphasize more on the human and nature relationship to create more sustainable ecosystem in our country. Because our mission is nurture the future by nurturing the people, space, and nature. Hopefully, we can put down our own mobile phone and enjoy the football game on the field rather than on computer screen. Yeah, that's all. Thanks for my presentation. I finished earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Phua, for highlighting the impact of technology towards landscape and also society. And we really enjoyed the eye-catching visual slide presentation and also the videos. I think our audience are very happy to see the progress of your presentation just now. And we have a few questions for you that probably we wish to hear more from your point of view. The first one is, in your opinion, how can we integrate IoT in landscape planning and design?
How to how to integrate?
Yes, Internet of Things, IoT in landscape planning and design.
especially for data collections. You know, like just now,
Yes, definitely. Because due to advanced technology getting more advanced nowadays, I think it helps us to ease up our profession work as well too, especially for data collections. You know, like just now we mentioned about isolations, about the heat in the city areas. We can also part of the IoT system that we can do it, and also the rubbish bins. We also put in some sensor. You know, so when these are the things, is actually ease out our works and also reduce the maintenance costs or operating costs as well. I think there's still a lot of things that we need to learn, because like what just now the professional mentions, you know, in our life we should not stop learning. So we should pick it up. So as a landscape architect, I think every professions we have, every landscape architect also involving a different kind of projects that we probably need to use a different kind of IoT system to to smoothen out our project. That's the reason why I think IoT it does help, but the most important things that we don't rely too much. I think humans and nature, that's the most priority into it. That's only the supported like IoT system to help us out to make our project smoother.
Yes, we couldn't agree more with the statement. We must put nature and people first, and the tools such as IoT is the device that could be our support system to help us to get a better planning. We do stand with your statement here, Mr. Phua. And before you leave us, can we ask the second question? With your years of experience, what are your advice to our junior landscape architect out there who might actually watching IFLA 2020 right now?
Oh, if you choose these professions, my personal opinion, you must love this profession. Without the passions on these professions, I don't think we can last forever, because in life, health and happiness, that's most important. If you choose the right career, you are happy for your whole life. So
Yes,
passion, that's the most important to me. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
if
you
we
must
do
know
have
what.
passion,
Yes.
if we do have passion, then we can move ourselves further, right?
Yeah, no matter what professions, once you found your own passions, you know, you will excel in no matter what you do.
We do hope so. As one of our speakers yesterday said, choose landscape. And with Mr. Phua's statement right now, you may need some passion and you will be okay in our field landscape architecture here. So thank you, Mr. Phua, for your time in joining us in IFLA 2020. We really enjoy your session. We hope to hear from you again in near time in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye.